Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, well, here's the thing, right? We got listings for a whole bunch of products, and I'm going to tell you what I know and what I can about these products. But we have listings for a bunch of products that say promo cards, and I'm going to give you my best interpretation of what these might mean, but please do bear in mind, until we have images of them, we're not going to know exactly. We good? Good. So let's start off nice and easy, shall we? There are two V-Boxes coming, the one in October that I told you about the other day, and also one in November. So we've got two Pokemon V-Boxes coming, and they are going to look very much like the Infernape box, which I showed you the other day. That is to say, you are going to get yourself 4 booster packs, a promo, an oversized promo, and an extra foil card. For what it's worth, the listings have confirmed that there is an extra card. So, for instance, and we've been seeing this a lot lately, but like Infernape has the Empoleon, in addition to the regular and oversized Infernape, or Jumbo, hey Matthew Verive, that's going to be the case in the future ones. There's one in October, one in November. Now, we can never tell exactly what's going to be in these because they tend to jump around a bit. I like it when they just use the gym promos from Japan. That's what they're doing with Infernape. And there are a couple that are essentially hanging out there. There's an Ursaluna V, which would absolutely fit very nicely into these. Bearing in mind it's a new Pokemon from Legends Arceus, it would fit nicely. And then we've also got Kyogre V, that again, you know, it's Kyogre, it's a box legendary. We're talking about a popular Pokemon. So these would make sense. I'm not telling you they will, because remember, we also got Pikachu as a V-Box, which was literally just a Pikachu they nicked out of a set and then put in here. And remember, they did the same thing to Boltund as well. Boltund was an alternate art that they basically nicked out of a set and whacked into its own V-Box. So they could do that again. They could take an alternate art or another card. You know, for instance, there is an alternate art of Greedent that came in the 100 start decks that I absolutely adore. I think is amazing. And I would love to see this getting its own V-Box. I'd love a jumbo version of it. It'd make me very happy. So we don't know. They're basically the options. That's what Pokemon have done in the past. The other pretty easy one is that in fall, although we don't have a proper release date yet, we are getting new tins with 4 booster packs, and a V, and a promo card, or a code card. Here's the thing, though. These are really hard to predict. And the reason they're really hard to predict is these represent the rare examples of where we tend to get stuff before Japan. Doesn't happen often. But if you look at the Divergent Power Tins, for instance, we got the alternate arts of Hisuian Decidueye, Hisuian Samurott, and Hisuian Typhlosion. Those first partner Pokemon from Legends Arceus. And if I'm remembering correctly, Japan doesn't have them yet. And this is something that actually happens moderately often with the tins. So, yeah. That's something to bear in mind. Now, the Eevee tins were especially disappointing initially because we had the alternate arts. Except they weren't. They were just regular arts, which were rubbish. But then we got tins in April that had actual alternate art of Espeon, Sylveon, and Umbreon. Even though the stock artwork didn't show the alternate arts, they did have alternate arts. And again, I believe they were cards that Japan hadn't had yet. So, these could well end up being alternate arts that Japan doesn't have. And generally, the best way to try and predict what cards are going to be in these products is to look at what Japan doesn't have and extrapolate from there. But because the tins keep giving us alternate arts and stuff Japan, well, doesn't have, that does make it a bit more awkward. As a side note, they do love giving us trios that fit, like the first partner Pokemon from Legends Arceus, like the Evolutions, etc. So maybe that's somewhere to look. Now, one that kind of makes sense, but again is very, very difficult to predict, is the V-Star Premium Collection. Now, it comes with 5 booster packs, 2 promo cards, and an oversized card and a pin and a V-Star marker, and we know what this looks like. We've seen 2 of these. We've seen that we had one for Cleaver, and we've seen that we had one for Lucario. Now, while we're here, as a side note, it does need to be mentioned that both Cleaver and Lucario had a marked difference between the European and the North American version of this product, and I think it's extremely fair to say that's likely to happen again. So, if you take a look at the American version, with Cleaver as an example, you will notice the American version has a coin that we don't have, and has an extra booster pack, which is a little bit disappointing. That's the way it is. It's not the end of the world, and it's all to do with costs and things like that. There'll still be the same promos. It's just the European version, expect not to get the coin, and expect to get one less booster pack. The listing we've seen actually says 5 booster packs and doesn't list a coin, but that's because it's a listing for the European version. Expect the North American version to have an extra pack and a coin as well. But if we look at both Cleaver and Lucario, you will notice it is the full art of the Pokemon V, and it is then the regular and Jumbo V-Star that we tend to see coming in here. And that's what we should expect to see again. Now, remember, and Cleaver's the best example of this, because Cleaver was just a set Pokemon V, or V-Star. When they put the full art Pokemon V into these boxes, they take it out the set. When they put the V-Star in this box, they take it out the set. What that means is, if you look at Astral Radiance, you can get Cleaver. And you can get yourself the regular art of Cleaver V. And you can get yourself the Rainbow Rare of Cleaver V-Star. But you cannot get the regular V-Star or the full art of the V. That's very, very important. Expect them to do that again. As for what they'll pick, I don't know. Cleaver came from a regular set over in Japan, but Lucario actually came from its own V-Star deck. So they could do that kind of thing again. But then again, we're not really missing any V-Star decks. Now, what we are missing are the Zeraora and Deoxys VMAX and V-Star decks, so there is a possibility that they could take them out, but I don't think they would, because then they've got nothing to do with the VMAX. We know there's only 2 promos coming in. I don't think they would take the V-Star and then put the VMAX in the set. That just seems weird to me. They could, but I don't know. They could just take a V-Star out of the set. That would work. Or what they could do is, we did get that special set, or actually it's coming out at the beginning of August, but there is that special set in Japan that comes with pairs of Pokemon like Rotom V and V-Star as an example. There's 3 pairs in total. So they could put them in, but then the problem with doing that is, in these products in the past, they've always given us a full art V and a regular V-Star. So I don't think they'd use these promos, because then they're not giving a full art V. And there's nothing in the listing to say they're giving a full art V, but they have done that in the past. What I think is most likely is they are going to take a V-Star, one that's supposed to be in Lost Origin or something like that, or maybe the set after, and they will remove it and the full art version of the V and put it into here. I can't predict what it's going to be, but at least I've shown you the kind of things they tend to do. And then there is one more product coming, which is a little bit weird. It's listed as a Pokémon TCG Battle Box, and it's the last things we had listed as Battle Boxes were the Blastoise VMAX and Venusaur VMAX boxes. They were actually listed as Battle Boxes. And it was the only place where you could get Blastoise VMAX and Venusaur VMAX. Now, what was really weird is that those battle boxes came with a regular card, a jumbo card, and a set of sleeves, and these aren't. These have a very different stuff. We've got 4 booster packs, 3 promo cards, an oversized card, an upgrade sheet, and a V-Star marker. Upgrade sheet, I'm assuming, is a way to, it tells you how to upgrade your deck. I'm assuming that's what it is. So although we've seen these battle boxes before, these are still called battle boxes, but the contents look very different. I think that is very, very, very important to point out. So with all of that said, okay, what are these going to be? And look, I'm sorry if I'm sounding a bit repetitive here, but this time I actually think they could be the Deoxys and Zeraora. And it's really simple, right? My reason for thinking this is very simple. There are 3 promo cards. And when Pokemon do this, they give sets of promo cards, and Zeraora and Deoxys, each of those decks has a V, a VMAX, and a V-Star, which makes a really good set of 3 promo cards. I don't think they would put them in the V-Star Premium collections, because it doesn't make sense. What do you do with a VMAX? But this is confusing. Like I say, we've had battle boxes before, but they were very different. But they were still built around VMAXs, and for what it's worth, Blastoise and Venusaur did actually come in their own decks over in Japan. It was a way for the Pokemon Company International to take a weird standalone deck that was a thing over in Japan and then turn it into a product over here. Well, we have these 2 weird standalone decks just like we had with Blastoise and Venusaur, and this would be a way to turn it into a product over here. This makes way too much sense for me. This sounds right. Which brings me to something I told you in a video the other day. Now, in the video the other day, I told you about the upcoming Ultra Premium Collection. And I told you we had an etched foil, a special V, V-Star, and V-Max with special art. And I told you that in that Ultra Premium Collection, we could end up seeing Deoxys and Zeraora. Incidentally, the comments I got on that video show me that you guys do not want that in the Ultra Premium Collection. That is not what you're into. And that's fine. I thank you for the honest feedback. Here's the interesting thing, though. We now have another product which has 3 promo cards, which makes a lot more sense. It makes more sense for these to be in a battle box than it does for them to be in an Ultra Premium Collection. And what we have now is a list of listings, a whole bunch of them, in the same format. And now, the fact that it says VMAX with special art, V-Star with special art, V with special art, now that is a lot more believable, because it seems like they're actually special art. Now, one thing I want to point out, and this is very important, we haven't seen special art VMAXs since they stopped doing them in Fusion Strike with cards like Mew. They don't do special art VMAXs anymore. We've never seen a special art V-Star. They don't exist. So this Ultra Premium Collection is starting to look like a very, very strange product, because we no longer have special art VMAXs, and we've never had special art V-Stars. So if they literally mean special art, like what we've seen before, these are things we have no idea about. And my prediction the other day about these being Deoxys and Zeraora, at the time it made perfect sense, because we didn't have a better product to put them in, and because we're told there's a V, V-Star and V-Max promo, and because that one random listing saying special art was not necessarily to be believed. But now that we've got products where the Zeraora and Deoxys make a lot more sense, and now the listing of special art really is far more believable, given that we got lots of listings and these are the only ones saying special art, now that changes things and gives us a lot of new information we didn't have the other day. But I still want to go back to that point. We haven't had V-Max special arts for almost a year. We've never had V-Star special arts. So what's going on with this Ultra Premium Collection? And the answer is extremely simple. We don't know what's going on. Maybe, now remember we've got that Charizard V-Star versus Rayquaza V-Max, that box coming out in Japan. Maybe the V-Star is Charizard and the V-Max is Rayquaza. But that still would leave us with 2 giant questions. Giant question number 1, what's the Pokemon V? Giant question number 2, how come this Ultra Premium Collection is coming out weeks before the Rayquaza and Charizard deck over in Japan? That is not the way Pokemon do things. I'm not saying they can't, but I'm saying they don't. If you look at all of the products I've been talking about in this video, I'm telling you about Japanese cards that we've had in Japan and how they're going to translate over here. It's not completely unheard of, but it is not generally the done thing that we get these fancy cards before Japan, and that would have to happen if it was the Charizard and Rayquaza. But then again, that would give us a special V-Star and V-Max, although let's be clear, they have not been confirmed to be special art. In fact, it's most likely they're shiny, because that's what the Zacian and Zamazenta deck were. And of course, in terms of the listing and the name, it looks like it's going to be similar to that product. But then again, maybe the shiny cards count as special art. The point is, the Ultra Premium Collection, yes, I've changed my mind since I talked to you about it the other day, but we've got a lot of new information. And also, and I think this needs to be stated super clearly, all of this is conjecture. We really do not have the information we need to make good predictions about this Ultra Premium Collection. I've told you what I can, but now it's over to you guys. Give me your predictions, tell me what you think, go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about a whole bunch of fun things. We talk Pokemon, we talk other card games, it's lots of fun. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where we've got our own Discord where we chat Pokemon, we share deck lists. There are pretty much weekly bonus pods where I just answer all of your questions, and it's a lot of fun. So check that out if you're so inclined. Like the lovely Uber MX, who's been along for the ride for a while now. Uber MX is lovely, and I'm here in this video to tell you that Uber MX is a very lovely person. And yeah, we give shout-outs on this channel to lovely Patreon supporters, as we should. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.